Psalm 124:7. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped. When I think about the soul, I am always brought back to that verse because a dear friend of mine had that emblazoned on a huge piece of burl wood in his living room. Pat was a drummer for a band that I was in, and I remember many things about him. A glorious red beard, an impressive red beard. But also this verse on this piece of burl wood. Now, as I've stated, God is three in one, and we are three in one. In two different ways. That is the body, soul, and spirit. And then the soul subdivides into mind, will, and emotions. Now, the Word of God talks about the Spirit of God. Does not talk about the soul of God. That phrase will not occur. So, I will explain to you, and in one sense, God does not. In another sense, God does. The soul is talked about two primary ways in the Word of God. One in the sense of commodity, and one in the sense of individuality. That is, Christ died to save souls. So the soul becomes the unit of humanity that is sold into the slavery of sin and can be bought back by the gift of Christ. So it's a unit. It is a measurable, purchasable unit in a spiritual economy. Much as a bar of gold, as a pork belly, as a unit of stock. It is a single unit of which you have one, which can be bought back. Christ died for souls, giving it a specific unitary quality. Secondly, the soul is talked about as a because it contains the spirit, not the spirit, the thoughts, the emotions, and the will. It is that is which creates individuality, differences between me and you, ways that people respond differently, think differently, set different goals. It is the thing by which believers, despite being made unified in the Spirit, can still have personal differences and personal difficulties. We as humans talk about soul music, and we talk about soul food. And therefore, when we say soul as people, we're talking about that which gives richness and that which gives meaning. God does not have a soul in the sense of a unit that can be bought back. You have a soul in the sense of a unit that can be bought back. Does he have a soul in the sense of individuality, in the sense of richness and meaning? Of course. Your capacity for understanding good comes from God. We cannot have a concept of God without the concept of good. We cannot have the concept of good without the concept of God. That which is good is that which came from God, that which was made by God. We wreck things and dirty things and cast them into entropy on a regular basis, but that which is good comes from God. Finally, you can say that while the Word of God does not talk explicitly about a soul of God, and these three pieces will have their own messages. Does God have thoughts? Does he have a mind? Does God have emotions? Does he have a heart? Does God have a will? Does God have intention? If you can say yes to those things, and God has the components of a soul, and you have a soul, your sense of ability to seek out and enjoy good comes from God. He knows richness and knows meaning more than you can. Any sense of a thought of desire to seek out meaning comes from him. He's the creator of meaning, and he wants us to seek out meaning with him and through him and in the good things that he made. If I have blessed you, encouraged you, equipped you in any fashion, please bless me by liking and subscribing.